Sorry, Chair.
Yeah, thank
Do
you.
that one more time.
Okay, now we're recording.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Well, lacking a little wooden hammer, I will call this meeting to order. A Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, regular meeting, on February 16th at 6 p.m. conducted via Zoom. Would you call roll, please?
Yes. Chair Shaw,
Here.
Vice Chair Romberger, Jeannie Reddy,
Here.
Jara Peterson,
Here.
Lori Riley.
Here.
Okay. Everyone but Vice Chair Romberger is present.
Okay, thank you, Rosa. Item number 2, petitions from the public. Are there any petitions from the public?
No, no petitions from the public.
Thank you very much. Item number 3 then, approval of the minutes. Regular meeting of January 19th of 2021. Any comments, changes, corrections, concerns with the minutes from the commissioners, please?
Look good to me.
Me too.
Thank you, Commissioner Riley. Thank you.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes from the January 19th, 2022 meeting.
I second that.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I guess there's a misprint there. It should say 2022, huh?
I caught it just in time.
Oh,
Yeah, and you made the motion correctly. Thank you. Having a motion in a second, I will call the question. All in favor of the approval of the January 19th, 2022 minutes, we'll say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Any abstentions? Look like the minutes carry, or the motion carries. We approve the minutes.
Chair Shaw, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
I'd love to point out yet another typo, if I could. Item 5 was skipped inadvertently. So we can go with what is said here on the agenda, but I will correct it in the minutes.
Okay, sounds fun to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had noticed that, but I hadn't gotten there yet.
Gotta stick with that.
Okay,
that's what my 5 question mark was. I was trying to figure out what that was on my notes. Like, what is that about? And then I just remembered, yeah.
okay then, new business, item number 4, conditional use permit for a wine tasting room. Let's see.
Okay, our applicant is here. Mr. Duajo Hicks is here. Will, were you going to introduce this?
Oh, wait, but point of order here. Wait, before we do that, let me
Okay.
point out that
Check this
Commissioner Romberger has joined the meeting.
I'm late.
All right, we're just starting item number 4, Commissioner Romberger, the conditional use permit.
Go. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me. I've been having all kinds of computer mishaps this evening, so I appreciate your patience.
No problem. It's working right now.
Fingers crossed. So item number 4 is an application for a conditional use permit for a wine tasting room. Under the wine tasting room under our codes is referred to as a spirituous liquor tasting facility. So we might be using those terms interchangeably, but they mean the same thing. Now the building itself has a retail store that was constructed in 1910 on the bottom floor. So it's been in use as in a retail application for quite a while. And under the under the zoning codes, wine tasting or spirituous liquor tasting facilities are treated much the same way as a retail store is, because the liquor license that is going to be applicable has restrictions on the amount of the a spirituous liquor or wine that can be consumed on the premises. Most of their business is going to be sales for take home, or at least that's the way it's supposed to work in theory. Now there is one thing that I would like to bring up as a potential issue is that the page 21 of the Town of Jerome zoning ordinance under definitions defines a spirituous liquor tasting facility as not having dining room seating. Dining room seating has been interpreted in the past by previous zoning administrators as having round tables with chairs around them. There's a memo specifically, August 10th, 2015, by former ZAL, who makes this interpretation previously. And so as I'm new, as I'm sure as you're all very aware right now.
You're doing great, Will.
Thank you. I'm trying to reference as many previous decisions and figure out what the previous interpretations were. So that would be the biggest hang up there for me is the dining room seating. But other than that, parking was the other concern. But as it's considered the same as retail space, the parking requirements don't appear to need to be changed under the zoning. Those requirements under section 510 D, table 1, list that we need 1 parking space per 300 square feet of usable space. Now, Yavapai County assessor maps showed that the entire bottom floor is only 1,080 square feet. And based on the review of the plans that the applicant submitted, square feet of usable space.
Can you repeat that?
You froze up a little bit, Will. Can you please repeat that last part?
So with about 800 to 850 square feet of usable space total, that leaves the required parking as it is at 3 spaces. Are there any questions on any of this? Maybe anything I glossed over or missed?
Not for me. Thank you, Will. Seems like a fairly complete packet. I guess we're ready to have the commissioners talk about it. I think I'll kick it off a little bit. I think the assessment that we look at wine tasting as a primarily retail is the case historically, and it's not a more intensive use than the other retail. So the parking situation doesn't seem like a problem to me. However, the seating may be. In our previous wine tasting occurrences in town, we tend to discourage. The concern is that we don't want the place to turn into a restaurant. And tables is one way to do it, and we also don't want it to turn into a bar. We want it to stay wine tasting. So some of that's controlled by the liquor license. Kind of defines what can be served. And the other thing is we don't want to turn into a restaurant either, and that's kind of under the purview of the health department. If they start preparing meals in there, then all of a sudden they have a kitchen and fire concerns and health department concerns. So the only issue I see is the tables it would be more consistent with our previous wine tasting facilities if those two tables could be replaced by a couch, perhaps, and a coffee table, or something along those lines. Other than that, I don't think I have any complaint. Perhaps the applicant would chime in here. Would it be possible to replace those two dining tables with something more casual?
Oh, sure. So that's not an issue. So I have plenty of furniture. I mean, that was just I have a diagram that I created to accommodate larger parties, and that was it. So that was
Kind
my
of
intention.
a general idea there or something. Yeah, maybe either like a couch with a table, coffee table between, or maybe a tall cocktail table with a couple of stools on either side, something like that, just to deviate from looking like a dining room. I think would make us consistent with the other wine tasting rooms. Any other concerns or questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, I have my hand up. I don't know if you saw.
No, sorry. Oh, yeah, actually, now that I look at the little tiny pictures, it's got a little hand. How do you do that?
Yeah, how'd you do that?
Well, I go down. Well, I'm on my phone, so I go down to more, and then it takes me a while to figure all this stuff out. But yeah, you got a little hand, and then you got to make sure you put it down too. But yeah. But so yeah, because it states clearly about not being a dining room setting, so that would be, we couldn't have that set up if we're going to stay with what we have in our ordinance. Couches and then little smaller like coffee tables and stuff is what to follow. And I'm concerned about the three spaces. And I know that Vina Zona has she has parking that she's set aside. And so I was just wondering if they have that set aside, or if there's parking that is available in that area.
That's a good question. Will, what do you have to say about the parking? I can add to. I give you my impression. We'll talk first.
Well, my calculations come out to the need for 3 spaces. I haven't had the opportunity to actually look and go and investigate whether those spaces existed previously or not. This is something I sort of jumped into in the middle of, admittedly, so I'm playing catch up. So.
So when it says off street, does that mean on the curb is not part of that, or is that part of it as far as their parking in front of the store?
Can I?
Yes,
jump
please.
in for a minute? Vina Zona
I know
they have their own issues, and they've created their spaces. They own some spaces. Won't go into all the details about which ones they own and how many they need and so forth. But in any case, in my perception, the retail space, it's been the gallery was Zen Mountain Gallery for a long time. And probably has the famous pretend spaces.
But that doesn't transfer when you go for a conditional use, right? When you've got a new business, that's not transferring?
Change of use, it would not transfer if it particularly, it wouldn't transfer if it was a more intensive use, i.e. if they opened a restaurant there and needed more spaces, because we count tables and so forth, then they would have to produce the difference between the retail spaces, 3, and how many were they needed to be a restaurant. So they needed a couple of more, they'd have to find a couple of more. In this case, conditional use is one thing. A change of use would be to change it from retail to something else. We consider wine tasting still retail, so the use has not changed. So whatever spaces, whether they're the ephemeral imaginary spaces or if there turns out that we can find real deeded or leased spaces, which I presume Zen Mountain Gallery did not have. So I suspect that they are the assigned pretend spaces. But in any case, the use has not changed. It's still retail, and the intensity has not changed. So how many ever is good for Zen Mountain is good for wine tasting. So
Judge Shaw,
yes, go ahead.
if I may explain a little further about Vino Zona's parking, that is reserved parking, and it's also on private property. So those aren't parking spaces that are shared parking spaces in the commercial district. And they are reserved parking specifically for Vino Zona.
That she bought,
She bought.
right?
She leases from a private person.
Yeah, bought, leased, easement, something, whatever it is. Leased. Okay.
And excuse me, and then to my understanding and speaking with the city's council is that they told me that I would not need additional parking, and that was my understanding from the city's council.
I think there's plenty of parking down there already, if they're, it's not usually a heavily used, unless it's on the weekend. And then it gets pretty full, but everybody, it's tourists, so.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be a problem in that respect.
So I have a question as well. So as far as when we're looking at parking requirements for businesses and, any residences in the downtown area, is it a matter of looking at the total available parking spaces and whether there's enough there to accommodate the existing businesses rather than these are your designated spots kind of thing?
Well, actually, kind of neither one.
Okay.
Well, a business may have designated spots, or
Right.
but they may not. And the way it works is if you're in the commercial C1 and you have say for example, you may have an assigned spot or a spot that you on private property somewhere in the commercial district that may or may not be in front of your store. But if you need that spot to have the number of tables in your restaurant or whatever, that's recorded with your use, with your property at your restaurant. And we say, by the way, there's a spot over here. And it may or may not be used by your customers. It's just in C1 someplace. On the other hand, if you have a long existing use, you've been say you're the English Kitchen and restaurant, you've been there forever, and your floor space says that you have 10 spots, even though they don't particularly exist anywhere, we couldn't point to which 10 are yours. It's assumed that you have that use. You have 10 spots. Now, if you're a restaurant, you want to like open another floor and add more tables, you'd have to find additional spots. But as long as you keep your number of
Right,
tables,
I understand all of that part. I think my question, or maybe even observation, is that it's really going to be hard for every business to have a designated public park. If it's a public parking spot, it's a matter of, are there enough spots, public spots available to accommodate the traffic coming in for the various businesses? You know what I'm saying? Am I making sense? I don't know.
yeah, I understand, and in the end, there may or may not be enough spots in town to accommodate everyone.
Okay.
I don't think the zoning administrators ever sat down and looked at every business in C1, figured out how many spaces they needed, and counted up how many spaces we have to see if there actually is or is not a shortage.
Got you. But as long as we're not increasing the intensity, like you said, we shouldn't expect there to be increased traffic. So it should be all good and go as it has gone these past many, many years.
Yeah, that's right, Commissioner. We assume that we're not making it worse, and whatever
Right.
imaginary spots they are, they're still there someplace, right?
Okay, that clarifies something, sort of my thought process as well as far when we're talking about parking, because that is a pretty key issue here, you know. But yeah, I appreciate that. I think my questions are answered. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Chair Shaw, I have the email from the town attorney, if you'd like me to read it, if that would clarify things.
Sure, but I didn't know we had a relevant email.
This was a while back when we were asking him about this, before Will came. He
Okay.
said, technically, changing from a gallery to a wine tasting venue is a change in use, but it is a change in use that's authorized in a C1 district. It indicates the parking requirement for a wine tasting facility is the same as standard retail use. So without a change in intensity, no off-street parking is needed. If the parking requirement were greater for a wine tasting facility, that would increase intensity and result in a changed use that would cause the use to lose non-conforming status. As a result, there is no change in intensity of use and no need for additional parking. But this assumes that the use gets a CUP so that it continues as an allowed use. It's a little convoluted. but
Wonderful.
there
Okay,
you go.
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So, so just to sum it up, then the same parking,
Yes.
parking, okay. And it's already been established that that parking is available.
Okay, thank you, Candace. Yeah, I didn't realize the town attorney, I guess, is calling it a different use, even though it's the same intensity. I mean, I just sort of assumed our definition of wine tasting was retail, retail wine.
There's, yes, yeah.
That's okay, but the logic's still the same. Even if we call it a different use, the intensity is the same, so no additional parking is required.
I appreciate you stepping in. The parking situation I'm still learning about in town.
It's
Are you
it's
kidding?
complicated.
We're still trying to figure it out. Okay.
Oh,
Do any of our commissioners have any other questions, concerns, comments about
Just like
item?
to add- Yeah, I'd just like to add a little suggestion to the owner. And how does he pronounce his name?
My name is Dawajo,
Roger, thank you.
Mhm.
Is
and my
that-
wife Roxanne is the other Hicks that's here. So,
Just as a suggestion to you for the larger parties is 2 couches with a coffee table in between is the perfect thing for a larger party.
okay,
You know, this is a suggestion.
thank you.
Better than the tables.
So I have a question, Shaw, Commissioner Shaw, do we have to have exactly what's going to be there before we okay it? Do we have to have table this until it comes back with exactly how it's going to be set up?
I wasn't really inclined to do that. I mean, since it's, as the applicant has pointed out, it's just simple arrangement of furniture. But I think I would probably make a motion to add a condition to the conditional use permit that we don't have tables with 4 chairs around them.
Could we have them draw that up and submit that as how they're gonna actually have it, as opposed to having this here and then we're okaying it when it's not up to code as far as with the tables and chairs?
Sure, we might be able to do that.
I don't think we need to table it, do we? I
Yeah,
think if we,
Well, I don't know, what would be the term, but to have the actual, that we're not okaying something that's not allowed.
If I can interject here, I actually think we have enough enforcement measures within the existing code that should he decide, oh, I don't want to listen to them, I'm going to put in the biggest dining room seat I've ever seen in my life. We can deal with that at the time using the existing revocation of permits and all that process. But I don't think that's going to be an issue. We have the teeth.
Yeah, I was going to say a conditional use permit can be withdrawn if we don't like it. So.
And I could sit here during a meeting and erase them and send it to Mrs. Gallagher, the diagram I created. It was on a Visio program that I utilized. So I'm not a architect. It was just something that I created. It's not even to scale. So it was just something I was trying to give a diagram of what my intentions were with the space. So that was it. So.
Okay.
Well, I just want to, so that someone down the road's like, hey, they submitted that and they said, okay. And so, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, no,
can we not add a condition to the
Exactly.
approval that we approve it under the condition that the seating be modified as discussed or something to that effect?
yeah, that's what I thought we would do. And
That should cover us without us having to come back next month and revisit it. So
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. All right. So what do you think? Are we ready for a motion on this thing?
I think so.
Let me craft, well, see,
Excuse me.
I move that we approve the item number 4, the conditional use permit for a wine tasting room at the Two Vines Vineyard, with the additional condition that the seating be not include tables with 4 chairs around them, that something along the lines of a sofa and a coffee table be substituted for that area. And of course, the applicant understands that if conditions aren't met on the conditional use permit, that it may be withdrawn. May I have a second on my motion, please?
I second it.
Any further discussion? Okay, having a motion in a second, I will call the question. All in favor of the item number 4 and the motion as I stated, will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And any abstentions? Looks like the motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Commissioners. Item number 6, conditional use permit for a residence. This is the same property in the upstairs room, right? Upstairs apartment.
Yes, it is. So do you want me to go ahead and introduce this, partner?
Yeah, go ahead. If you've got anything to add to what's in the packet.
Well, probably not, but I like the sound of my own voice, so I'll say it
Yeah,
anyways.
that's fine. Yeah, either add or emphasize something we might have missed or whatever, or just review for us in case we've fallen asleep, whichever.
Well, so the residence upstairs, well, the building itself was constructed in 1910. The residence, the apartment upstairs, was established in 1924. So there has been an upstairs apartment for 98 years. For all purposes, because of the age and location and the context that it's in, it qualifies as a legal non-conforming situation. And, my understanding is that there's not going to be any modifications that, to the structure. Maybe I don't really have that much more to add after all.
Okay, no, that sounds good to me. I mean, I know it's been an apartment for a long time. I hadn't realized it was 98 years. So just as a point of clarification, it's been an apartment, it was an apartment, and it's still going to be an apartment. And the only reason we're talking about it is because the property is changed from one ownership to another. So we're going to carry that conditional use through to the new ownership. Yeah, this looks like a no-brainer to me. And if you're talking about me, it's really come to the right place for a decision. Having no brain.
That took me a minute.
Yeah. Any comments, questions, issues from the other commissioners on this?
So everything gets transferred over from the residential, from the previous owners, parking and all that.
Yeah. Okay. I move we approve. This is item number 6. I point out that we skipped item number 5 because there isn't one. Item number 6, conditional use permit for a residence upstairs at the 515 Main Street. I move we approve.
Second.
With the motion second, I will call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Any abstentions? Look like the motion carries unanimously.
Welcome to Dowaja.
Thank you. Thank you. And I removed the tables and I'll be sending that to Mrs. Gallagher right now. So
Okay.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr. Hick.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Let's see. Okay, item number 7, the elimination of P and Z resolutions.
Now, I need to interject here that because I'm new, this is something that I admittedly don't know a whole heck of a lot about. So I'm going to be kind of listening and learning with this process too. So hopefully next time I'll be a lot more used to you guys.
It'll never happen.
Just glad we have you.
I think you're doing a great job, Will.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, well, I will jump in and discuss a little bit then, unless anyone has an objection or a burning desire to say something first. The resolutions was an invention by our previous zoning administrator. And I always considered it to be a simplification for him in his documentation process and the way he was keeping the files organized and so on. I had no objection to the process. I recently found out that members of the council are perhaps uncomfortable with it for one reason or another. And I will point out that that we're in the process of organizing a joint meeting between the council and the commission to talk about it. I think that we do the resolutions in DRB 2. Like I said, I have no objection to the process. I consider it to be a clerical simplification for both the zoning administrator and whatever the town clerk wanted to keep their records and files in order. So I don't have a strong support for it one way or another. I kind of liked it as a simplification, but if there's a reason we don't like it, I'm flexible. Also along those lines, before I surrender the microphone, we do have an input from Margie Hardy, a citizen of the town. She sent us a short email, which I will read. And Rosa, I assume this will be a hard copy included into the minutes or whatever at some point.
Yes, have it.
Let me go ahead and read this. I don't know. Did you send it to everyone or?
I did not, because we didn't get it till this afternoon.
Okay, that's fine. It's just a short email. I will read it so the other commissioners can see what was said here. So Ms. Hardy says, regarding the attachment of resolutions that take the place of a specific motion made by a member of the commission, I feel that the process is a violation of the open meeting law based on what is stated for the required contents of minutes. In the open meeting law, there is no mention of extraneous documents taking the place of a motion describing what the commission is approving. Referencing something that isn't the same as is actually putting it in the text, in the minutes, in detail in the minutes. Please consider both the requirements stated in the open meeting law and realize that up until our previous zoning administrator took his position, the town boards and commissions always described a motion in the minutes of the meeting. This is a standard that we've always used, not just a reference taking place in the text of a motion. I am also very concerned about the perception of an approval stating in writing in the packet prior to any discussion of the item. It would appear that it is already decided to approve because I've never seen a resolution stating that something would not be approved. This is as if the decision was already made prior to the meeting. I understand that the resolutions can be amended, but if I were just looking at the packet and there was a resolution to approve an item, I would wonder how it could be possible when the commission hadn't even met to discuss the item. Thank you very much for considering my comments, Margie Hardy.
Well,
So-
oops, sorry.
No problem. Go ahead, Commissioner Peterson.
I have no problem with having things checked over. And since it wasn't done before John Knight, that, I don't think nothing should be rushed through as far as like if we have a different pair of eyes and different, being checked out to see everything. There should be no rush when we're having buildings put up and changes within the town. I have no problem with that, like just a suggestion and that we looked it over and then the final goes to the council.
Yeah, I have no problem with the oversight. The only thing I would point out is, I appreciate Margie Hardy's concern with the open meeting law, of course. I mean, everything we do has to conform with the law. So no complaints there. But it's a matter of the records organization. When somebody wants to go back and find out what this commission did 2 years in the past or whatever, the alternative to the resolution is that we would craft our own motion, rather than saying I move we approve resolution 2022-10, we would say instead, I move that we approve item number whatever for a new building on Main Street. In my mind, it's not a lot different from resolution, so I'm not really sure what the complaint really is. As far as open meeting law, if I really want to find out what happened, like what did they actually approve? Did they approve a resolution, or did they approve item number 10? Does it make a difference to me? I still have to go and look at the packet to see what's there, and the packet includes the form that the applicant fills out that talks about lot coverage and what zone it's in, and then if I want to see the detail of what was approved, I have to look at the rest of the packet, maybe plans and different things. So that stuff doesn't end up in the minutes anyway, right? I mean, if there's a plan to look at, where a diagram for the appendix in the ordinance that shows the height or whatever, whatever details we approve, that's not in the minutes. That's in the packet. So there's other places to look for the information anyway. So
I agree. I
so-
agree with you, Lance.
So I'm not sure what the issue is really.
If I may, my perception when I initially was looking at this item is I'm wondering if it's more a matter of it, like she said, where it's this, I mean, we're always going to get staff recommendations. That's always going to be a part of what we do. It's staff is integral to planning and zoning. We're always looking to staff to provide us with the information we need to make decisions. So the way those resolutions were worded, I'm thinking that might be maybe giving a wrong perception that staff is already predetermining what the board's going to do, which is not the case. That's never been the case since I've been on this board. We've always thoroughly questioned and reviewed every item before us, regardless of what staff recommended. So, I mean, I kind of felt like maybe they're seeing it as, well, the staff is already telling the board what to do and the board's just going to do it, So I can kind of see where maybe it's a matter of just shoring things up so that public perception is more well perceived or more clear as to what's actually going on, Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a good comment. I understand the concern, and I guess I can see that. And I'm with you, though. I've never felt like the staff recommendation necessarily tied my hands at all. And I mean, we used to have some zoning administrators say, would actually say, recommend we approve based on this, that, and the other thing, or whatever, whatever, summary issues there were. Some planning and zoning administrators have not had a recommendation. So I don't really, they say, here are the things for the board to consider. We should look at the setback, or maybe there's this issue with this easement, or the height of the building is close to the limit, whatever. And just leave it at that. Other times the zoning administrator would say, I move we approve because I can't find anything wrong with it, which is fine.
Right.
But the resolution, I've never felt like it really said, I expect you to approve or disapprove. It just said, if you approve, you're basically approving these key issues. Ding, 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 ding.
Right.
Kind of summarizes whatever the item is, which is fine. But I see the concern, though. If it looks like they're trying to cram something down our throats, even to not even to us, but to an observer, if the council looks like we're getting something crammed down our throats, then that's not my perception. But if that looks like what it is, then maybe we could either change what the resolution says or how it's presented, or do away with it completely.
Right.
And again,
My understanding, that perception is the problem.
Yes.
yeah, and
Right.
and part of this comes from the staff too. I mean, that's why it was invented, and I assume it was a simplification or an organization or some kind of detail in the way John Knight was a previous zoning administrator, was keeping his records together. If there's something that helped him in his filing or whatever, that I mean, I don't mean to dismiss those kinds of concerns. And also even a member of the public, if they come in 2 years, it's probably not in their best interest or in the town's best interest if for a member of the public to figure out what this commission did 2 years ago, if the only way for the member of the public is to do that is to listen to the recording of the meeting, that's terribly cumbersome and inconvenient. We shouldn't do that.
And I don't believe the open meeting requirements require us to do that. I think it's in every board and commission I've ever served on, and I was a secretary for a commission in the past, and it's always been presented that way. The meeting minutes are really what we discuss and what we're, all the concerns are. But when we make our motions, there's always supporting documentation behind that. It's not just in the meeting minutes.
Sure.
There's always going to be extraneous information attached to that. So I don't think
I
it's way
appreciate
too
that. I mean,
cumbersome to put everything in the minutes.
yeah, if you put everything in the minutes, it would become a transcript of the meeting.
Right.
Which is obviously too cumbersome for staff to deal with, right? We don't want to do that.
And not required.
Yeah.
Chair Shaw, may I jump in here?
Yes.
I did have a conversation with our town attorney because a violation of the open meeting law is a serious accusation. He did not feel that this is a violation of the open meeting law, but he did understand the perception issue and I think that Ms. Reddy brought that up. It's really a matter of perception that the board just is going to rubber stamp whatever the zoning administrator puts in the resolution. I don't think the resolutions were ever intended for that. I think they were intended as a matter of transparency for the public. I mean, we put them on our website afterwards. It makes it, as you said, Mr. Shaw, very easy for the public to see what happened and to find what happened. What the attorney did suggest is that to avoid that perception, the resolution, if you choose to continue using them, could have a statement before the whereas clause or the now therefore clause, but that says the commission in brackets approve or disapprove, so that it's not clear, it's not you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
That it doesn't appear that it's
Either
been
or.
prejudged, kind of. And
Right.
that's an interesting suggestion. And then the suggestion that she had about that the minutes don't accurately reflect what was discussed. He also suggested that perhaps the text of the resolution could be included in the minutes. So I just wanted to tell you what his input there was.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Now, that sounds like a decent idea. It doesn't look
Mhm.
like somebody's presented a resolution that the acceptance is a foregone
I
conclusion.
get that, yeah.
Yeah, right in the resolution, it says either approve or disapprove.
Right.
Here it is. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't see it. This item just says discussion, doesn't even say possible action. So when we warn ourselves out, we can go ahead and move on. And like I pointed out, we are having a joint meeting between planning and zoning, DRB and the council perhaps to talk about a resolution is issued. Are there any more comments, questions, concerns from the commission? I mean, we'll get a chance to talk this over again with the council and the other commission if we arrange that meeting. I guess that's coming up in March sometime.
March 8th.
Oh, we have a date now.
Not yet. Has everyone answered the doodle poll?
No, they have not, no.
Okay.
Candace, you got mine, didn't you?
We got your answer, Jared, yes.
No, it was Lori.
Oh, no.
And-
I couldn't tell who was speaking there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did my homework. I answered my doodle.
I did mine.
I answered mine as well. Did you get mine?
I'd have to look. I can't remember who answered and who didn't, but I know several of you did, and I appreciate that.
Okay, whenever we get that nailed down, we're gonna have another meeting on that, so we can go from there.
And I'm gonna be caught up to speed by then, hopefully. So I'll be a lot more of use to you guys.
And Candace, can you let us know who you didn't get it from? Because if you didn't get them, we need to redo it.
I will do that. Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So barring any objections from the other commissioners, I'm ready to move on to the next item. Nobody's complaining. Okay. Item number 8, election of new officers, chair and vice chair. Okay. Let's see, as the commissioners may be aware, your term is, what is the term anyway? 2 years?
3.
3, thank you. Refresh my memory, 3 years. But the chair is not allowed to be a chair for any more than 1 year, right?
2 consecutive years.
2 consecutive years. I don't know, I can never keep track of this. But anyway, it appears that my term has run its course and we have to come up with a new chair.
And vice chair.
And vice chair for that matter.
You just can't be chair more than 2 years in a row.
Okay, right.
So Chuck could
So you can
be,
do another year, right?
Chuck could.
Yeah. Let's see, and Commissioner Romberger is the vice chair, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right,
So-
well, so with no further ado, who wants to volunteer to be the chair?
I don't think I'm qualified yet.
Well, who absolutely won't, who won't do it if they're appointed?
Can I nominate Vice Chair Romberger to move up to the chair position?
Chuck,
Tag, you're it.
I really don't feel qualified yet.
That's
Well,
Oh, boy.
somebody's gonna have to do it. How can nobody be qualified?
I recommend or Jeannie for chair.
yeah. Jeannie, you've had some experience.
Yeah, you've got that little legal part again there.
All right, if y'all will bear with me as we transition.
Well, that could be done. I'll
I
tell you
know
what-
y'all are all very patient and understanding, so I won't feel too, all right. I'll accept the nomination.
Okay,
Yay.
Tell you what, well,
And then we'll keep, I mean, is Chuck, can he remain as the vice chair or?
Do we do a new vice as well? I think Lori should be the vice chair.
I don't feel qualified yet. I'm
Just
so new with
vice.
this.
That's, you just gotta make sure Jeannie's always there. So
Well,
you have
Chuck-
to make make sure
Oh.
she's well, everything, and yeah.
Tell you
You
what,
just have to step in if the chair is not available.
I'll tell you what, I'll be the vice chair. I can
Oh,
do that.
there we go.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah,
Okay.
Lance should be vice chair. That's
How about that?
perfect.
That sounds like fun. Let's see. Actually, this doesn't have discussion, possible action on it. Do we have to make a motion or can we just?
I nominate Jeannie Reddy and Lance as the, well, let me, Jeannie Reddy as the chair. We'll do one at a time, I guess.
Yeah,
I
let's,
second that.
okay, let's see. Well, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
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 I
Do I vote for myself? I accept.
Yeah, well, those,
Thanks for your confidence, everybody.
um,
I'll nominate, I'm
Lance.
sorry, I just went blank. Go ahead, someone else take over.
I nominate, God, now I went blank. Come on.
no, you make a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion that Lance become the vice chair.
I second that.
Excellent.
All in favor of Lance being our vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye. Little practice.
You have the gavel now, Jeannie?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, I think Lance needs to finish us out today.
Okay, well, no, I can step in and run down the rest of the, we're kind of the end of the.
Meeting
Ricky,
updates.
Okay, item number 9, meeting updates of recent upcoming meetings. Will, this is where you jump in and read this to us.
Oh, okay, thank you for that. All right. Item 9, updates of recent and upcoming meetings. First line, February 3rd, special council meeting. Applicants interviewed for zoning administrator position. Oh, should I be worried about that? February 7th. I'm sorry.
Now you can toot your own horn.
No, we know how that one turned out.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
February 7th, we have a DRB meeting on the Cornish pasty sign and the shipping container. February 8th.
Well, that's right. And actually, I would point out for the commissioners that the shipping container was delivered today and installed.
Oh, was it?
good.
Okay, good.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what, can I ask, what was the Cornish pastry sign?
It's pasty, by the way.
Oh,
Is it pasty or pasty?
Yeah.
I
Pasty.
Pasties
Okay.
and then pasty.
okay, thank you.
That's actually the restaurant space that's in the UVX. That's
Oh,
been
that
empty.
corner one.
Yeah, the corner one that used to be the pizza place.
Yes.
They've been renovating that space, and English Pasty hopefully will be opening soon. I hope.
Oh. We need another restaurant.
And then
I'm looking forward to eating a Cornish pasty myself.
Well, yeah, I know that the
Same.
history of how they made them, like when the miners would eat and then throw away the crust. So they kept it from eating and getting toxins, like tin miners and stuff.
Oh,
Where they came from,
interesting.
I think is a Scottish, it's like, that's the pasties or, yeah.
Ooh. That's really interesting. Well, all right. And February 8th, there was the council meeting, sign ordinance adopted at second reading, short-term rental ordinance adopted at second reading, adoption of fire code resolution to adopt 2018 edition as public record, conditional use permit for shipping container approved, and COVID keeping town hall closed, meetings in public.
That's confusing.
Well,
That council meeting. So that was another thing, because I talked to Candace today about if we want to decide, we kind of decide for ourselves if we want to do public or if we want to remain with Zoom. It's up to us.
Okay.
Kind of something to discuss where we want to be in future meetings.
So council has decided to return to public meetings. Is that?
Yeah, we want to be have the public involved and yeah.
Right.
So, and I was confused because when I was listening to it, I'm like, are we all going public? And, but talking to Candace today, she's like, it's really kind of up to us, what we want to do for our meetings. So.
Okay,
The way I've been scheduling meetings over the last few months is if one person on the commission or board is not comfortable meeting in public, then that basically determines that it's a Zoom meeting. So it would have to be a unanimous thing that everyone would want to go back to public meetings. So that's the way we've been handling it. Council just decided they wanted to go back to public meetings, and we're fine with keeping town hall closed. Although it seems like COVID's kind of waning. So,
yeah, okay.
As a personal interjection here, I will let you guys know that I am on immunosuppressant treatment. So I am very concerned about any exposure. So I would lean more towards maybe waiting another month and see if the numbers continue to fall,
I agree. I feel comfortable with Zoom right now. So.
Yeah, I would love to return to public in-person meetings. I mean, I miss seeing everybody and having that interaction of being all in the same room, but we got to take care of our health first. If you guys want me to serve out my year term, you got to protect my health.
Hey, we'll support you, Jeannie.
No,
I'm good with Zoom.
Yeah, my comfort level says at least one more month of Zoom too, so I'm
Okay.
good with it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, all right, thanks, Will. See, item number 10, potential items for the next meeting. Looks like no new items are on the drawing board yet. We'll see what we get for applicants and so on. And
So we don't have any current board members on the Planning and Zoning Commission that their terms have ended, right? Nobody's 3-year term has ended or any of that, or how does that work? When your 3 years is up, can you remain on the board, or
yeah, if everybody
do you
likes
have
you,
to step down after 3 years, or can you continue? I don't
No.
remember.
you can continue as long as people tolerate you and as long as you want.
Good deal.
I've been on P and Z for like 10 years or something.
Okay, good. Yeah, because we really can't limit that. We need people to be
Yeah.
able to serve. Yeah.
All right,
Can I ask one question before we adjourn?
sure.
On the short-term rental ordinance adopted, what was decided on that?
I can speak to that if you like, Lance.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a very brief ordinance that mirrors what Sedona is doing.
Okay,
And it's not part of the zoning ordinance. It's part of our code, which avoids Prop 207 issues. And it will basically require a responsible person to be registered with the town for any short-term rental. That includes hotels, any transient rental facility, including board and breakfast, everything, not just vacation rentals. They have to register someone with the town that that lives within 25 miles, can respond within 60 minutes to any complaint. And there's a penalty if they don't of up to $2,500. So it's giving us a little bit of teeth and able to, at least have some control over what's happening with the short-term rentals. It's not everything we'd like, but it's something.
Okay, good. Thank you. I know we have to tread carefully to avoid stepping afoul of the Goldwater Institute and Prop
That's
207.
exactly right. Yeah. And I will send you all a copy of that, by the way, along with the sign ordinance also.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And actually, I have a point of organization to ask Rosa right before we adjourn, and that is, who's going to sign off on the minutes and the items that we voted on? Do you want that to be me, or should it be our new chair?
I would think you've led the meeting. You're the, we didn't elect Jeannie till the end of the meeting, so I would say you.
It sounds fun. I'll
Over till
sign
next
up on
time.
it. If you prepare what I need to sign on and so forth, let me know.
Yes, I will do
Okay.
that.
All right, item number 11, adjourn.
Yeah.
I move we adjourn the meeting.
I second that.
With a motion and a second, I will call the question. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Any abstentions? Looks like the motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thanks, everybody.
Well, thank you.